Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to be doing my take on like the modern bridal wedding makeup, and I am so excited to be doing this video. It is one of my most requested videos of all time. I just want to say right now that I am sorry for the fact that my eyes are very bloodshot this entire video, just because it doesn't make the makeup look as beautiful as I wish it did, because I'm still getting over being sick. I was so sick this past week. And so yeah, my eyes just look really bloodshot, like very irritated by the lights right now. So I am sorry about that. But I absolutely love this look so much. And this video is gonna be a longer one because it is filled with a lot of tips and a lot of tricks and a lot of suggestions coming from me for being a bride and looking your absolute best and feeling your absolute best on your wedding day. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and if you like this and you would like it to become like a bridal series, I'd be very open to doing that. I know that like just bridal makeup in general is one of the most requested thing on my channel. So I wanted to do this because it's just like that smoky but natural look, if you will, and it's really pretty, but it's also gonna like stand the test of time, you know? So if you guys wanna see like a series of bridal looks, let me know if that's something that you're really interested in. Give this video a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below, let me know what you'd like to see next. If you see a comment in the comment section and you're like, ooh, I wanna see that, give it a thumbs up so I can see what you guys are looking forward to seeing on my channel, and I can produce good content for you guys that you actually enjoy and wanna watch. Also, quick disclaimer, I am wearing a top. I look so naked right now, like I can't even begin. Like every single time I look in the view monitor, I'm just like, I look like I'm just like naked in diamonds, which I'm not complaining about being butt naked, just wearing diamonds. But anyway, I really hope that you guys enjoy this tutorial and maybe gather some tips and tricks along the way. That would make me so happy if I could help out someone on their wedding day, help make them feel beautiful and just like a princess and put together like we all deserve. So yeah, congratulations to all of those who are getting married, and for those of you who are single and ready to mingle and just watching this video for the hell of it, I see you, girl. I love you guys so much, and if you want to see how to get this modern day bridal look, then just keep watching. Okay, so the first thing that we are going to do today, which is the first step in every single makeup application, of course, whether it's your wedding day or a typical normal day where you're just doing a light beat, whatever it may be, is to prime the skin. But first of all, like my first tip to any brides to be out there is to make sure that you're really happy with your skincare and start it months in advance. Do not try a new skincare 3 weeks before the wedding and then you have a bad reaction and now your skin isn't where you want it to be on your wedding day. Going and getting like a really great facial months before the wedding and really clearing out your pores, finding a skincare regimen that really suits you and your needs and sticking to it, making sure that you are cleansing your skin, moisturizing and exfoliating constantly and not missing any days is a key step in making sure that your skin looks beautiful on your wedding day. And along with that, also making sure that you are really exfoliated, because your skin is not gonna adhere, like the makeup's not gonna adhere to the skin and really hold on if you have really dry, flaky skin. So make sure to really exfoliate the night before or in the morning of your wedding, depending how sensitive you are, to really make sure that your skin is in a good place for your makeup to be applied. I started off with the Sisley Double Tenseur Primer because it's my favorite, and then I'm also gonna go in with the Global Perfect Pore Minimizer by Sisley as well. I'm gonna put this one specifically on the center of my face, more directed on like my T-zone area. I love this primer because it really does kind of fill, mattify and blur my pores. Even though I personally don't like to have really matte skin, I still love what this does as a base. Once I have my foundation on, it just makes everything look a lot more like airbrushed and smooth. Okay, so now I'm gonna go in with foundation, and again, the foundation that you use on your wedding day, do not use a great foundation that you heard so many amazing things about for the very first time on your wedding day. Make sure that you have tried your foundation and you absolutely love it. Even if it's a foundation that you love and you can't afford, get a sample of it and use that sample on your wedding day, but just make sure that it's gonna be something that you really love and it lays nice on the skin and it doesn't settle into your fine lines, it doesn't break you out, none of that jazz. Just make sure that all the products that you're using on your wedding day are things that you actually like, and don't take chances. It's not the day to take chances. So I'm gonna be going in with the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. This is a full coverage foundation. It's definitely kind of like a satiny finish, which I love because it's not too matte, but it's also not like dewy and sticky. So I'm gonna be going in with the shade Natural Beige. Now this color does not match my face at all. You can see my face is very fair right now and I'm having breakouts everywhere. I've been sick recently and just really stressed with some stuff. So I got breakouts everywhere. We're gonna cover those up, but you can see my neck is so much tanner than my face. So we're just gonna go ahead and use a shade that's a little bit darker. I'm going to go in with a beauty sponge right here. This is dampened. I just put it underneath the sink to get it nice and damp and squishy. And then I'm gonna take that right off the back of my hand. And then once I have that, I'm going to use the Lila Be A Glow Face Mist. I'm gonna spray that directly onto the beauty sponge, and I'm going to begin to just tap this into the skin and blend it out. And I will just say, for me personally, there's like no question about it. Using some sort of spray on my sponge to apply my foundation makes the world of a difference in the application and the way it looks when I'm completely done. I think I keep adding more and more steps to my routine. It keeps getting more and more complex, but it also keeps getting prettier and prettier and more airbrush and more flawless looking the more steps I add. So I'm just kind of going with it. But I just personally think that it makes the product look so natural when you do this. It really just like makes it very creamy and just kind of like melts it into the skin, and it shears it out a bit too, which is really nice because I prefer to have a foundation application where it starts off sheer and then we build it up, as opposed to it being extremely like boom, like massive coverage all at once, and then you're kind of screwed because if it looks like cake face, then all you can do is wipe it off, you know? Okay, so now for concealer, I'm gonna go in with the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer, and this is my tried and true #1 most favorite concealer of all time. If you have not used it, I would really recommend trying it. I personally don't know anybody who doesn't like this concealer. It's so amazing. It's really full coverage, and the thing that I love about it so much is it does dry to a pretty matte finish, but it's not like a chalky matte finish, but it's also not like sticky. You know how some concealers will be so like sticky that you feel like there's gonna kind of like run off your face, or it's like you only blink 3 or 4 times and you've got creases everywhere. Now, under eye creases are kind of like inevitable, it happens. And the only way to really get rid of the under eye creases is the way you set it with your powder. But at the end of the day, if you've got under eye creases, you're just gonna have them, and that we don't need to like push women and men that far to think like, oh, it's unnatural to have under eye creases. It happens, and sometimes your concealer is gonna settle there. But to prevent it, this concealer is absolutely amazing as far as the under eye creasing goes, which is why I would recommend it to brides for sure on their wedding day. Not to mention, it like stands the test of time. Like this stuff never, ever breaks up on me, but I think that might also be the way I set it as well, which you guys will see me do in a minute. I'm spraying the beauty sponge now on the tip of it, same exact setting mist, and then I'm gonna go in and blend that out. And I did use 2 different shades underneath my eye. I used light neutral and I used medium, just because it's what I have sitting next to me right now, and medium is a little too dark and light neutral is a little too light. And I want this to be a little bit lighter than my foundation shade. I don't want it to be drastically lighter, but as you can see, it is a little bit, because that's just gonna come in handy later with just the end result of the face. I prefer doing a lighter concealer underneath my eye. Ever since Mario, Kim Kardashian's makeup artist years ago, introduced that technique, I've never stopped. I always make my concealer a little bit lighter. I think it just looks so much more natural in the end, so I continue to do that. But just make sure that you don't go too light. Like if you put on a really like stark white under eye concealer, then you're gonna start looking a little bit more fake. I don't like to use that word, but you guys know what I mean. It's just not gonna look as natural as your end result, which I'm kind of into that look sometimes, but on my wedding day, I would personally want it to look a little bit more just like, perfect. Okay, I'm gonna take that same lighter shade, I'm gonna put that right here, up in between the eyebrow area. I'm gonna take it and put it right on the cupid's bow and on the chin, and then I'm gonna go over that a pinch, just a pinch, with the shade medium. Right there, because I, again, don't want that to be too light because it's just not gonna look right. And I'm just going to push that into the skin. Okay, now that my face is matching my body a little bit better, I definitely feel like I'm in a better place now. Excuse me. I know it's probably gonna get annoying, me clearing my throat and coughing so much in this video, but you know, like I said, I'm just trying to kick this sickness once and for all. I'm at the tail end of it right now. Okay, so now I'm going to set my face with powder, and this is where it starts to get, I don't wanna say tricky, but kind of, because this is where you can kind of make or break the base of your face, meaning your foundation and concealer application. For me personally, I am more on the normal / dry side. I definitely am not oily at all. So I prefer to go in with a very full amount of foundation and concealer. Like anything that's wet, that's what I wanna go in with the majority of because of my skin type. And then I like to go over with a pretty small amount of powder. And if I am gonna use a generous amount of powder, I am gonna make sure that I'm really blending it out and I'm consistently, like constantly using a setting mist to really make sure that it melts into the skin. If you are more on the oily side, then you would wanna kind of do the opposite. You would wanna do like a medium coverage and maybe a little bit more powder to really keep yourself mattified throughout the day. I'm gonna go in with the Hourglass Veil Translucent Powder. This has quickly become my most favorite powder to set my face with recently because it is just so natural. And I'm gonna pick it up like this on my damp beauty sponge, and this is still pretty damp. Like this is not anywhere near dry yet, but it's not wet. You have to make sure you're not using a wet sponge because then you will have the reverse effect and it's just gonna break up your makeup and make things a little messy. So you'll know if you squeeze it and any water's coming out, then it's too wet. You should be able to squeeze it and no water actually comes out of the beauty sponge. So I'm gonna take this and I'm just gonna tap it, and you can see it is a really light application, and I'm just going to press this into the skin all over my entire face. Now, if I had more oil on my skin for my wedding day, I would definitely go in with the Cover FX Perfect, right? Yeah, Perfect Setting Powder right here. And if I was really oily, I would go in with the Laura Mercier translucent powder because that one definitely is like, whew, honey, it's a dry situation. But I think that for the wedding day, it's ideal to set your entire face with a translucent powder as opposed to a powder with actual color and pigment and coverage in it, because this usually looks the most natural over time. So if you wanna like make sure that you look great in pictures throughout the entire day and the entire night, I would go in with a translucent one. And of course, make sure that you have a trial before doing your makeup yourself or with an artist, and take photos with flash, take photos close, take photos far, all that jazz, to make sure not only you love your makeup, but to make sure that you get no flashback moments, meaning a huge white cast all over your face, because no one likes the way that looks. And you guys will notice that I usually tend to powder my nose more than anything else on my face. Like I'll even go back and powder it later again after my eyes sometimes, because just for anybody, it doesn't matter if you're dry, oily, normal, the nose is always the thing to break up and come off the quickest. Typically the T-zone is, and that's not only because of oils and just living your daily life and like the humidity and the weather, whatever it may be, but also hugging people, kissing people, drinking drinks, whatever it is. It's like you tend to just kind of like rub your face. You have an itch on your nose, whatever it is, the nose usually breaks up the quickest. So I usually like to over powder my nose just to ensure that that's not gonna happen. Okay, so I'm gonna use that exact same powder and I'm going to put it on my under eye using the pointed side of the sponge now. And I'm putting like about that much right there. I'm gonna blend that out. So I am doing this a little bit differently than normal. Typically I go in with a lighter powder that has some color in it and some pigment on my under eye, and I do that immediately before I do my eyeshadow. But today I'm doing it different because I really want my skin just to look absolutely perfect. So I'm gonna spend a little bit more extra time on it today, and that's why I'm doing this. Okay, so before doing anything else at this point, I'm going to grab some setting spray. Whatever setting spray is your absolute favorite. Again, don't try anything new on your wedding day. This is my favorite setting spray of all time. It has been for a very long time at this point. The reason I love it, number one, is because of the fact that it makes my powder and my foundation melt together in a way that I have truly never seen a setting spray do. It's kind of like the MAC Fix Plus, but less tacky and doesn't make me as dewy. I have heard some people say that it makes them really dewy. I personally don't experience that, but it also takes a lot to make my skin dewy because I am more on the dry side. The other reason I love this so much is because it is an aerosol can, so it comes out like a hairspray like that. So you get just like an even continuous spray at all times, and it doesn't like just squirt in your face and ruin your makeup. So I'm going to take this and just spray my entire face right now. When I really want my skin to look absolutely incredible, this is something that I will do, is I will spray my face with that setting spray probably like 4 times throughout my makeup application, because I feel like if you spray it in between applications, like in between like foundation, powder, spray, and then like bronzer, contour, blush, spray, and then highlight, and then spray, it's like your end result just looks, everything is so blended together, and it's just like it just gives you like that Instagram face, you know? So that's why I use setting spray so much. I'm going to now go in and do my eyebrows. I'm going to be using the Anastasia Brow Definer in the shade Medium Brown. I'm going to cut this part out of the video because to me eyebrows aren't like exciting to watch, and we all do eyebrows in our own individual, unique way. If you guys want a full detailed video on how I do my eyebrows, let me know. I have not gone and got my eyebrows tweezed or waxed or anything gosh, in years. I don't even remember the last time. I just do everything myself, fill them in and that jazz. So if you guys want like a full detailed video of like how I got them to grow like this and all that jazz, I can do that at a different time. But for right now, we're just gonna boom. Yay! Eyebrows are done. I always can't stand the way I look like this when I just have on foundation and nothing eye and brows. I feel like I look so just like in your face and very aggressive and angry. So I'm always like very panicked to get makeup on as quickly as possible, because once I have eye makeup on, I'm like, oh, thank God, it all comes together. Okay, I'm gonna start off by going in with my original Jaclyn Hill palette. And I mean, obviously, if it's my wedding day, I'm gonna be wearing this bad boy, 100%. I'm gonna go in with the shade Silk Cream right here. This is typically always the first shade that I go in when I do any neutral makeup look whatsoever. And since it's my wedding day, I'm definitely gonna keep it neutral, even though I feel like it's really fun when brides do like major like pops of color and just like really like get wild with their makeup. I think it's so cool, but I would keep it neutral because that's just who I am. So I'm gonna grab that on a fluffy brush and begin to put that in the upper area of my crease. If you can see exactly where I'm putting it, I'm not really getting it on the actual lid, and I'm not getting it up there on the brow bone. I'm getting it right in between, and then the bristles of the fluffy brush are gonna really help to blend that out up here and down here as well. So we're just going back and forth in windshield wiper motions, and then as that product kind of leaves my brush, I'm gonna bring it to the inner corner of my eye. And I always lift my eye up. Even when I'm getting my makeup done and the artist starts to go into my inner corner, I always like lift my eye up like this to kind of help them, because if you keep your eye like this, it can be kind of droopy, and then that fluffy brush will get it like too high in there. So I always lift that up so you can really get precise. All right, so now I'm gonna go back in with that same Silk Cream shade again, and this time I'm going to lightly start to kind of flick it out a pinch. Like I barely have anything on my brush right now, just a little bit of it, and I'm gonna kind of bring it towards the tail of my brow, just because I don't want this to be too rounded. Because if my eyeshadow is rounded on a daily vibe, I don't really mind. But if I'm gonna be looking at photos of myself forever, I definitely want like a little bit more of like a soft cat eye, just because it's more flattering when you kind of have like that whoosh, as opposed to a circle around the eyes. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, before I go in with anything else, is I'm going to grab my Cover FX translucent powder in the shade, sorry, it's just called the Perfect Setting Powder, and I'm going to stamp this underneath my eyes. Now this is why I didn't put that much powder on my under eye when I initially set my face, because I knew I was gonna be going in with this method right here, and I do not want this to cake up and start looking like too much. So I'm just going to lightly stamp that right there, and then press this under the eye to catch any fallout. Okay, now I'm gonna go in with the shade Pukey right here in the center of my palette on a little bit of a stiffer brush. Like it's not as big and not as fluffy as the first one. And I'm gonna put that right underneath of the first shade that we went in with, called Silk Cream. And I am just going to blend that back and forth the exact same way that I did with the first shade. Literally same exact steps, just right beneath it and on top of it. And then I'm just going to lightly, again, when I have basically nothing left on my brush, kind of flick that out towards the brow. You can see, like I'm not making it as pigmented as the actual lid color, but I'm just making it like an afterthought. So it just has like that really like natural, effortless effect. Okay, now I'm gonna go in with the shade Buns right here, which is this matte brown, and the undertone has like a little bit of like rosiness in it almost, which is like really flattering. I always tell the same story how I hated this color at first, and Linda made me put it in the palette, and I was like, this is terrible. And now I use it all the time. Like I wouldn't even know what to do if I didn't have this color. I use it constantly. So now I'm gonna take that, I'm gonna stamp it really lightly on the outer corner of my eye, and just blend that in to the upper shade. God, I was way too rough when I washed these brushes last. They are like right now. And again, we're basically doing the exact same thing. I'm just keeping this shade lower than the previous ones. Okay, so I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna wipe away the translucent powder just on the outer corner, because you see how right there, we have like a sharp line right now? Well, I don't want it to be that sharp on my wedding day. So I'm just going to clear that off and then continue to work, but just not with that right there. Like the line right now is good because I'm gonna be able to like blend it and make it look great. And I'm glad that I did that. I'm not saying I shouldn't have done that. Like I wanna make sure I'm clear. That is what I want it to look like as of right now, but the end result, I don't want it to be that sharp and that harsh. So I'm gonna go ahead and wipe that area off and then just go ahead and put a little bit more translucent powder directly underneath my eyes just to catch any fallout once again. And honestly, like a tiny bit like that is enough just to make sure that we don't mess up the under eye concealer. Okay, so now I'm gonna go in with this really deep shade down here. This is called Central Park. I always say Central Perk. It's like the hardest thing for me not to say perk from the show Friends. But this dark matte brown, like espresso shade, I'm gonna go in with that. And I'm going to put this on the outer area of the eye where I've been working this entire time. And I'm just going to deepen that up. I'm gonna start by stamping it there, and I'm going in with a really light amount because I don't want to overdo it and then be like, oh my god, what did I do? So like a tiny amount is where I'm starting. I'm just going to build it until it's exactly where I want it to be. I'm just going to stamp and then lightly kind of stamp it on the lid and up in that crease as well. Okay, so now for the actual lid of the eye, I'm gonna go ahead and apply those shadows now and then work with any more blending and browns on the outer corner. I'm gonna go in with the shade Obsessed right here and then SBN, which stands for Smoky But Natural. And I actually created this shade right here, SBN, for wedding days because it is that perfect all over lid shade when a bride just says like, I don't know, I want it to be smoky and I want it to be really sexy, but I also want it to be like natural, you know, like smoky but natural. Like it's just something that you hear all the time when you are a freelance makeup artist. So that's why I actually created this shade right here. So it's perfect. So I'm gonna go in with these two shades and combine them. I'm going to spritz my brush with some Fix Plus because I like the way it shows up more when a shimmer is a little bit more metallic. I'm just gonna go ahead and stamp that on the lid. I'm going to take only the shade SBN on my finger right here, and I'm going to put that all over the outer part of the lid using my finger because I don't know, sometimes I feel like it's just something that I've been doing the past like year or so. I feel like when you use your finger that it can just, I don't know, but there's something I like about it. Not on the inner corner, but only this area. It's gonna like to use my finger to blend out. It'd be really nice if I didn't have these long nails so I could actually get to work, but they're holding me back. Okay, I just applied a little bit more translucent powder and kind of like blended it out a little bit just because the other application of it was starting to just like soak into my skin and disappear. So I wanted to make sure that it's still there because I'm gonna go in with one more deep matte shade. And I'm gonna be using the Ring the Alarm palette. And I'm gonna go in with the shade Secret because at this moment, I really love this eye look, but I need a little bit more warmth. But I don't want it to be like burgundy or red, even though honestly, for real, like if I got married next month, I would probably do like a really intense burgundy smoky eye because that's me. And I think it's so important on your wedding day to stay true to you. But I don't know, this is also just like so classic and just like beautiful and stands the test of time, you know? So I'm gonna go in with that shade Secret, that like deep kind of like warm brownie matte shade. And I'm going to warm this up. No, I want a smaller brush. Hold on. I'm going to just blend this out and warm this up a pinch. I'm being very soft and delicate with this because I don't want to do too much, make it too harsh or too warm. And then I'm gonna go in with a basically clean brush and just go over the edge of that and make sure that it is totally blended out. Just really making sure I'm working my brush all along that edge. I'll go back in with a little bit of the shade Pukey that I used. That was the second color. Just a tiny bit, teensy tiny, and just making sure that everything is really soft and just perfection looking. I'm gonna go in with the very first shade in my palette right here called Enlight on a tiny little precision brush. I'm gonna tap that just at the high point of my brow bone, right underneath my brow for a little pop of highlight. I'm not gonna like extremely highlight my entire brow because I don't want it to look too over the top and kind of like artificial, if you will. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but just a little bit right there for just more than anything volume of the brow. It'll just give like a more lifted look, and we all love to look lifted. Okay, after looking at my eyes like from a distance a little bit, I decided to bring the shimmer color all the way over on my entire lid. You could definitely leave it like this, but I don't know. I'm just having a moment where I'm like, I want my entire lid to look really like fairy tale and just like open and bright. So I'm gonna actually bring this shade all the way over on top of that brown. So obviously if I would have known this earlier, this would have saved a lot of time and effort in the blending process, but that's okay, now I know. See, already I like the way this looks better. And I'm going to kind of create a cut crease with this, but a gentle one, which I actually love a good cut crease on a wedding day. I think it's really beautiful and just like such a modern bride, but I am gonna soften it up a little bit. Yeah, see, I like this so much more. You can see the difference of how this one opens up my eye and this one kind of closes it, which I like this, but it's very like nighttime, very smoky, and I don't really want that vibe for my look right now. Okay, so because I use Fix Plus on that, I'm not gonna try to like blend the outer area at all right now. I'm just gonna let it sit, I'm gonna let it chill, and then I'm gonna go in and kind of blend it out after I do a few more steps, because if you try to blend out shimmer eyeshadow that you use with Fix Plus and it's wet, it just makes a mess. So I'm gonna just let it relax for a few minutes and then go back. And then I'm actually gonna take a little bit of that in light shade right here, the first one on my palette. Again, I'm gonna use my finger, just on the tip of my finger, and I'm going to lightly tap that only in the center of the lid because it's just gonna give like a little bit of brightness, and then I will just kind of buff that out a little bit like that. So now I have wiped off that under eye area, and what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna go back in with the same beauty sponge I've used the entire time. I have not re-dampened it whatsoever. It's just the same as it's been. It's been sitting here in my vanity, and I am just going to press this all over my under eye for probably about 30 to 60 seconds, like 30 seconds on each eye, because doing this, if you have dry skin, any of that translucent powder could just kind of sit there and like kind of build up and maybe make your skin look a little dry under there. This will make sure that it gets rid of that. And if it doesn't work, it's because your beauty sponge is too dry, but just please do not go in with a really wet beauty sponge at this point because you will mess up your under eye concealer. It needs to be damp, but not wet. Okay, so for the under eye, I'm gonna go in with the shade Pukey again, right here in the center. And I'm going to bring this all the way from outer corner to inner corner on the lower lash line. All right, I'm gonna go in with that deep, dark, matte brown called Central Park on a stiff little definer brush. So I'm gonna put like an additional layer on the outer half of my eye. And then I'm gonna go in with the shade Buns again on a smaller, almost hit myself in the face, on a smaller pencil brush like this, and I'm going to just blend that out. Okay, so now I'm going to put on some mascara to prep my lashes for false lashes. I would definitely suggest on your wedding day going with false lashes. Going with false lashes, whether it be strip lashes, whether it be lash extensions, whether it's individuals, just some sort of lashes, because it is a really big, special, important day in your life, and putting on some lashes is going to just make you not only feel like a princess. Lashes have like this power behind them. I don't know what it is, but when I put on a lash, like even if I have on basically no makeup whatsoever and I put on some lashes, I just feel like better. It's so silly, but I do. And not only that, it will look so beautiful in photos. Your eyes will definitely have like an it factor to them that they won't have without lashes. Now, if you have incredibly naturally long, beautiful thick lashes, God bless you, girl, do you, and just act like I never said anything. Don't listen to me. Now, before I go in with lashes, I'm just gonna pick up a matte black shadow. I'm going in with the shade Abyss from my palette right here. Any black matte will do. And I'm going to stamp that along my upper lash line right here, because this will just make the lashes look a lot more natural and like they're growing from the roots of your lashes and not like they're a strip just sitting on top. And I'm just lightly flicking up that black on the outer corner to blend it into that shade just to keep it nice and smoky. Okay, so I'm gonna be going in with Lily Lashes in the style So Extra Miami right here. She has Miami and then she has So Extra Miami. I feel like Miami is like one of the most beautiful lashes. I'm obsessed with it as of recently, but it is a little bit more shorter and a little bit more spikier in my opinion, and I definitely want like princess lashes, like long, lush, like lashes. So I'm gonna go in with So Extra Miami. I will be real, if it was my wedding day, I would use Intoxicating Lashes by Flutter because I personally love them so much and they complement my eye shape so well, but I am 100% out of them right now. I officially went through 100 pairs of Intoxicatings, which is crazy. So I'm gonna be using these today because they're really beautiful as well. Gosh, applying lashes is so easy when you put some shadow on first, like on your lash line. Like, did you see how easily that went on? It's just like, bloop, because you don't have to worry about it being like freaking perfect up against your lash line. So simple. Okay, so now for my under eye, I'm going to wipe off my inner rim because all that brown shadow has gotten in there and it just looks kind of dingy. I'm gonna wipe that clean, and then I'm gonna go in with a white eyeliner. And let's pretend that this is MAC Fascinating Eye Kohl because that is my favorite white eyeliner of all time. But this is all I have right now, so I'm just gonna use this. I'm going to line my inner waterline with that stark white. Now, if you are uncomfortable doing a white, you could do a beige. MAC Cosmetics has a couple of great options for a beige eye pencil, and a lot of brands actually have options for beige now. It never used to be like a really big thing, but a lot of brands are definitely coming out with them now. But if you just think that this is too much, then totally do that. But I love that light and bright. It just feels very like classic and doll-like. I think it's really pretty. I'm going to take that shade in Light from my palette. I'm going to pop that in my inner corner right there to give a little boop, boop, boop. Okay, so now let's move on to the face. I'm gonna start off by doing my bronzing and contouring. I'm gonna go in with this Dior Backstage palette. This is called the Dior Backstage Contour Palette. Looks like this, and I have recently fallen in love with it. This color right here is so beautiful for contouring. For the skin tone that I'm at right now, I can also be a little bit darker, and I can also be really light in order to use this. It's just beautiful. If you are much deeper in complexion, then you would have to go in with this shade right here. But I just love the consistency so much. They're super pigmented. So I'm going to just do what I always do and begin to softly contour with this. I do not want a harsh contour. That's just, that would not be my vibe on my wedding day, like a really whoosh contour. So we're gonna keep this a little bit softer today. I'm gonna keep that right there. I do not want the center of my forehead to start looking too dark or too brown from my contour powder. So I'm gonna keep this on the edge of my hairline. Okay, so I don't know if you can really tell on camera right now, but my skin looks very flat and one-dimensional. And the reason why is because I did not go in with any lighter, like matte highlighting powders underneath my eyes earlier. So everything is just kind of like the same tone and just like flat, which I do not like that. So what I'm gonna do is go in with this Kat Von D Shade and Light contour palette, same damp beauty sponge. I'm gonna pick up a little bit of this and a little bit of this, combine those two shades together, and I'm going to apply this to my under eye area. I'm gonna start right by the nose, bringing that downward like that, and then up towards the temple. And this is going to honestly bring my entire face together and make such a difference. It's gonna go from like a doll to just like heavenly. I'm gonna bring that down on the apple of the cheek, because anything that you put this on right now, it's going to come forward. So under eye circles, bye. I want my cheeks to come forward like a nice little baby doll cheek. Like, you can see the difference between this and this, right? It's like so flat, and this is like rounded and has dimension to it. I'm gonna take that same powder. I'm gonna put a touch of it right there on my chin, a little bit of it right there on my Cupid's bow. Blend that out, just pressing it in. And then same thing right here in between the brows like that. And then blending it right above the brow and then upward towards the hairline right like that. And then again, going in and make sure you're pressing that all out. I'll flip the sponge around on the other side so we don't have any powder on it. We're just simply blending out what we just put on the skin. Now I'm going to take a little bit of this ColourPop and Alexis Ren bronzer in the shade Topaz, just because it is a really beautiful, and it's very creamy also as well, but it's a really beautiful like orangey terracotta shade, and I want to use that to bring a little bit of warmth to the face, and also it is super inexpensive as well. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of that, tap off the excess. We wanna keep this really minimal, and just go over the contour area. More than anything, we're kind of applying this like blush just to warm up the cheeks. Okay, I am going to bake a little bit, but when I say a little bit, I'm literally going to put this on and wipe it off because I want this to be clean. So I'm going to just line it up. I'm just gonna go in with this foundation brush and just completely wipe that off, because you can see that it gave us like that nice little line that we can go in and we can diffuse with this brush right here and make it nice and soft. But more than anything, it cleaned up this area and didn't leave it so messy like it looked before. I'm going to warm up my nose just a little bit. Like, I'm not even really contouring because I don't want like a structured, like, boom, nose contour. I just want to bring a little warmth to the face so that my nose isn't totally left out. And then I'm gonna go on the sides of my nose where I have that powder. I'm just kind of press that in so it's not so strong. So for blush, I'm gonna go into my old school MAC palette. I'm gonna go with the shade Coppertone and Melba, and I'm gonna mix these two together. Some of my favorite blushes ever. I love these colors so much. And I want my cheeks to have like a little bit of like a blushing bride look, you know, like a little pinky, but not too pinky. So that's why I'm choosing to mix these shades together. I love blush so much. Like, I get so heavy-handed and so carried away, but also blush fades on me so quickly. So I will apply so much that I kind of look like a clown, and then 15 minutes later, no lie, like my blush will fade so much. So I always go really heavy-handed because I know like this is not how it's gonna look all day. So don't mind me, just living my best life. Okay, this is the most necessary product for a bride. I can't even stress this enough. This is the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder in the shade Luminous Light. It is the most beautiful glow from within. Like, I don't know what I would do without this powder. So I'm gonna take it on a small, fluffy highlighting brush, and I'm going to just put it on the apples of my cheeks like this. And it's going to not only give me that glow, but it's also gonna lighten my blush a little bit, so that's not so harsh. So keep that in mind when you are applying your blush, that it's gonna lighten it up a pinch. I'm just going to bring that backward towards the temple. Oh, it's so beautiful. And then for my highlight, I would like to say that on my wedding day, I wouldn't want my highlight to be too insane, like a little bit more tapered down, but if that were the case, I would just leave it like this. So the fact that I'm going with more clearly shows my true colors. I'm gonna go in with the Kylie Cosmetics Loose Highlight in the shade Fiji. These highlights are so beautiful. I'm gonna tap my brush in that, and then actually no, I'm gonna spray my face first. I'm just gonna spray my entire face. I just want to mist my skin first because the highlight is going to show up so much more. It's gonna look a lot more natural and like wet looking, and it's gonna freaking pop. So let me go ahead and pick a little bit of that up on my brush and just hit the high points of my cheeks with that. Ooh, honey. Okay, take it easy, Jacqueline, don't get carried away. Take it easy. I love this highlighter so much. So this shade right here in Fiji only works on me when I have a little color in my skin. When I'm really fair, I have to use the shade Fiji, which is equally as beautiful. It's just more of like a white vanilla base. Oh my. Oh. I don't think this is too much for your wedding day, is it? Tiny little boop on the nose. Wait, hold on. Okay, I'm gonna take my beauty sponge and just dab over this, mainly at the bottom half of it, just where like the blush is like meeting the highlight. And I'm just going to dab with that damp beauty sponge just to make sure that everything is nice and soft and blended and melted into the skin. Okay, I'm gonna put some mascara on my lower lashes. Okay, I'm going to wipe off all of this crusty foundation off of my lips and then apply my lipstick. Okay, so now we just have bare lips, and an additional tip to all the brides out there, make sure that you exfoliate the crap out of your lips on your wedding day, because you do not want to have any crusty lips. You want to try to avoid that as much as possible. You want to have nice, supple, juicy looking lips to kiss your man when you get married. So make sure that you don't have any dry, dead skin. Make sure you wipe off foundation before and go in with a clean slate. Okay, I'm gonna go in with the MAC Cosmetics lip pencil in the shade Whirl. It's just such a beautiful, like, bridal lip liner. Like Whirl, Subculture, Boldly Bare. This is honestly like the exact same color as my natural lips, to be honest. Okay, so now my entire lips are lined with Whirl. Another suggestion that I would make on your wedding day is not to overline your lips too much. I love a good overline. If you are going to overline your lips on your wedding day, just do it up here at the Cupid's bow to make them look a little bit fuller. But overall, You're gonna be in a lot of people's faces, taking a lot of photos, and having a lip line, especially if it starts to fade, you start to like lose it and your lip line stays there. It's just not very flattering, and it's just not like that bridal beauty that we're going for, you know? And don't get me wrong, I overline my lips almost every single time I do my makeup, but still just a suggestion. Okay, I'm gonna go in with the shade Candy K by Kylie Cosmetics. This is one of my favorite liquid lipstick shades. It is so beautiful. It's gonna be a very different color than the lip liner that I put on, but that's okay because that just gave me like a really nice base, and therefore I'm gonna know exactly where to put this. And the trick to your liquid lipstick looking beautiful and lasting forever is to put as little on as possible. Going over it over and over and over is just gonna make it look chunky and crumbly and dry, and the second you eat or put anything in your mouth, it's just going to crumble off into pieces or break up. So doing just like one layer is truly the trick. Okay, so I personally am a gloss girl. I wanna wear a gloss all the time. I think it makes the lips look so full and luscious and just girly, but on your wedding day, you're obviously going to have the big kiss, probably making out with your husband if it were me at the altar, and on top of it, the rest of the night at your reception, you're gonna be kissing constantly, so gloss is just gonna get a little messy and a little in the way. So I would suggest doing a long wearing liquid lipstick of some sort, or it's a great lip liner, something that's not gonna transfer and necessarily transfer as much as a gloss, which is like a major transfer situation. So because I can't do a gloss, I am going to highlight the center of my lips. I'm going to use the shade Mannequin by Jeffree Star to do that. I'm gonna just put like a dab of it right there and right on the upper lip. I'm trying to talk to you, I'm just like, I am just dabbing this out. Last but not least, I'm going to set my brows really quick with some Anastasia Brow Gel. All right, you guys, so that is it. This look is complete. I hope that you enjoy my take on like the modern day bridal makeup, and hopefully you guys got some tips out of this, maybe some tricks, learned a little something. I hope so. That's what I'm here for. Yeah, if you guys liked it, make sure you subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and if you want to see more wedding looks, that is very, very much doable for me. You know, absolutely. So just let me know what you guys want to see in the comment section down below. I love you guys, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.